What's going on, everybody? In this video, we are going to be talking about some of the hottest NFT mints as well as the state of the overall Web3 market. Now, before we get started, if you are still here, still alive, still kicking, make sure to give this video a like, subscribe, and let's go ahead and dive right in. All right, first thing I'm gonna talk about is macroly what's going on in the markets, right? So things are kind of just holding steady. Ethereum has been at 1.8 for the longest time now, right? And Bitcoin has been, almost touching that 3K. Now, a lot of people speculate that once BlackRock and Vanguard and all these companies create their ETFs that allow people to buy Bitcoin and, probably Ethereum and other coins that they have selected, there might be a possibility that the market pumps up, whether it's real, whether it's market made. There's so many things that go into creating an ETF. That could be a potential catalyst for a bull run. Now, when will that happen? I guess you got to follow the mainstream news and see how the progress is with the ETFs. That's pretty much what everyone is waiting for. And something you have to know about markets is that, markets can be made, right? So for these companies creating these ETFs, you have to really think that, they're going to make money every time there's a transaction. They're going to make money a percentage every year based on how big that ETF is and all these different ways they can collect fees. They're incentivized to get people to believe in Bitcoin. So my guess is that you're going to see a lot of celebrities or business influencer go on, all these different news channels in the future, not now. And they're going to say hey, you should invest 1 to 5% of your portfolio in Bitcoin because you never know, it might go to $1 million. And you're going to see a lot of people FOMO in probably at that time, right? That's my prediction. I could be totally wrong, but yeah, so you have to wait for that. So a lot of people, they might DCA at this time because it's kind of like a quiet period. NFTs are almost dying. Something to keep in mind. Now, obviously do your own research. I'm not telling you to buy or sell anything. I'm just giving you my personal take. Now, going into the NFT markets, right? I want to first start off with what's going on in the Ethereum market, because I think Ethereum is a really good, indicator of kind of what's going on. Yeah, there's other chains like Bitcoin, Ordinals, and there's Solana and things like that. But you have to understand a lot of these things are wash trading and what's real. A lot of things are not real, to be honest, right? And I think at this point, everyone kind of knows. So if we go into daily traders, realistically, there's about 15,000 people actively trading on a daily basis for the month of July, right? So literally 15,000 people. So obviously on Twitter, the engagement's down. On YouTube, everything's pretty much down, right? Because there's not a lot of people coming into the space. You can see here, if you look at, the past 2 years, if you look at weekly traders for all marketplaces, it's going down. So, yeah, I mean, there's, tens of thousands of people still in the space that are actively doing something, right? There's a lot of people just holding things that are just going to zero. But yeah, I mean, that's usually how it goes with crypto, right? It's it goes up really fast and it's very illogical. People are emotional, people are gambling, then it goes down, then people take out money, they lose money and all these things, and then it gets to this really dark period where everything's down 90%. And then what happens typically, if we've seen in other cycles, is that there are people who create catalysts in the market and people want to buy again. They build confidence, prices start going up, and the average person starts buying, and then more and more people start buying. There's more confidence again, people talk about it on the news, and just the cycle again repeats, right? So you have to really think about it's more psychology of human nature, human greed, the chance to make money quick. And you have to really pay attention to those narratives, especially on social media, because once everyone starts believing again, the things change really quick. I mean, I've been in the space for a little bit now, and not super long like other people, but other people who have made it in the past, especially when I first started, it wasn't as if they were the best traders. It wasn't as if they were the best at anything. Actually, they just bought some NFTs or whatever the case is, or coins at a price where it was really low, and then it just blew up and they just had no idea, right? And so being early definitely is a thing. When things are worth nothing, that's when you buy them and then it goes up. So that's a lesson I've learned. If you stick with it, I mean, you don't have to spend 24 hours like we did back in the day and during the bull run, right? But if you stick with it, you kind of understand your pocket, understand your niches of what you're good at, whether it's gaming tokens, NFTs, whether you're a builder, whatever the case is, there is an opportunity for you, but you have to be able to survive, which is very important. So now let's go ahead and talk about some new mints, right? The first one I'm going to talk about is going to be Cyberkongz. Now, Cyberkongz is interesting for me because Cyberkongz Baby was actually the first NFT that I purchased way back in the day. And now, years later, they are launching the Genkai Mint on July 27th, which will probably be a couple days from the time of this recording. So the price is going to be 9,000 supply for this. Each wallet can mint 2. The price is going to be 0.25. And then there's going to be some reserved for redacted, so we don't know who's that reserved for. And then there's going to be 7,000 airdrop to baby holders and Genesis. So if you have a Gen Kong, you can get 2. Baby Kongs get 1. Active VXKongz get one as well. Here are my personal thoughts on the minting mechanic, or just the project in general. First of all, right, and again, this is just my opinion. If you have a hold Cyberkong, and just understand that I'm just giving an opinion based on what is presented, based on the information that is put out, right? Total supply is going to be 20K, right? They're asking for a price of 0.25 on a 20K mint. Of course, a lot of them are going to be airdropped and people are going to be like potentially selling them, but I think it's just too high for this market in particular because the market's getting smaller. And I think it's just not an attractive deal for someone who's going to mint, right? Deal meaning that will someone potentially be able to make money? You can argue that Cyberkongz has been in this space for a while. They've been OGs. They have done a lot of innovation, especially during the early days of doing the Wall Street Kongs, one of the early alpha groups with NFTs, doing a VX model and stuff like that. Even with that said, I think nowadays being an OG is not enough. It's important to actually show people what you've done, right? And so for the VX models, you know, yeah, they have been implemented in different things, but there's not a lot of news on like where people are using these VXs, right? It's still a cool concept, but then it's just like didn't take off the way they did. The sandboxing that they bought a bunch of land in sandbox, I'm still kind of waiting for what that's supposed to look like. And then they had the play and collect thing, which a lot of people maybe forgot about unless you do have Cyberkongz assets, which wasn't really a hit on Polygon. When we're looking at the art itself, it's possible that if you use like these Kongs for an entire IP, it's possible that it could be something, right? But you have to really think in the Web2 audience, is the audience ready for this? And I'll leave it up to you to decide, right? So at the end of the day, it's all about narrative. If there are going to be a lot of people who are also in the same boat where they're looking at this thing, they're like, okay, 0.25, 20K supply, that seems a little high. So how do I know it's going to go up? How do I know I'm just not going to lose money if I mint? And right now, there's just not much justification. In my opinion, the responsibility of a project, because if you're a project, it's your job to do marketing, right? So you can't say like, hey, you got to listen to my 2-hour AMA to understand all the details. Actually, no, people don't. People just need to know what's going on very fast so that, you know, if someone makes a YouTube video about it, someone makes a thread about it, they're not just focused on what someone has done in the past as an OG, but what they're going to do in the future. I mean, that's just like marketing 101, right? So if you're interested in the Genkai mint, it's coming up. I wish them the best of luck. All right, next project we're going to talk about is going to be Moonbirds. So Moonbirds has recently launched their Moonbird Mythics a couple days ago. So they have this trailer over here. And it seems like they're going the whole IP route, maybe similar to like Pudgy Penguins in a sense. Basically how this works is you see that there's only 275 items. So every day there can potentially be 100 new Moonbirds popping up. 50 eggs can hatch. People have these eggs and they can hatch it. And then also you can burn a Moonbirds oddity, which is their secondary collection, which allows you to get a Moonbird, right? It's an interesting concept where it's kind of like opening trading card. And I'm sure their thought process was, hey, if we really focus on the art and reveal the art over time, then potentially over the next year or so, people will be interested and excited like, oh, did you see this Moonbird mythic like just get revealed, right? And so I think that's conceptually what they were trying to do, because it's like a very slow reveal and it takes time. There's just not a lot of hype for it. So right now the trading volume's 8 Ethereum. I mean, the art looks good. I mean, I do like the art. I like this tribal kind of thing that they're going for. So the art, the creative direction is pretty cool, but yeah, there's just not a lot of hype for this, right? And so I'm sure there's a lot of people who are going to be like, oh, you guys raised $100 million and this is all you have to show. I'm sure they're doing more things behind the scenes, right? So you have to understand like NFTs is an experiment. So we don't know if this is going to work until it actually happens, right? You can make predictions the way things played out. So yeah, I'm sure over time, you know, when the market comes back again, people will see the art. They'll see this is like really focused on the NFT, crypto, fine art kind of vibes. So yeah, I mean, if you want to check out Moonbirds Mythics, definitely check it out. All right, so the next project we're going to talk about is Valhalla. So this one's kind of interesting for me because basically what they're doing is they're kind of transitioning from just being like a gaming kind of PFP with the whole Valhalla thing. There seems like they're dedicating a lot of resources to building out Stacked, which is a video platform, somewhat of a YouTube competitor, but not really. They're saying their core feature is bullet chats inspired by Bilibili. So I guess taking a feature that was popular in Asia, specifically China, bringing it in Japan and bringing it into the West. A lot of people have done like similar ideas, right? Taking tech products from the East, putting it to the West, or taking products from the West, putting it to the East, right? So basically the concept is like kind of like watching a YouTube style video, but with a Twitch chat. So I haven't tried it personally myself, but you know, I watched a couple of the videos of what they're doing. Seems interesting. But if you think about it, you know, like once people launch an NFT project, they have to decide like what they want to do next, right? How are they going to bring value to this NFT project? And one thing I do find interesting is that for Valhalla and Stack, they just went for a tech platform, right? So it's basically a launch NFT project. We have a dedicated diehard fan of people that love our stuff, people are into gaming and who potentially might like Twitch streaming and stuff like that. And now they're building a technology company so that the users are holding Valhalla, they will be the first users of Stacked, right? And the diehard users as well, not just regular users. So it's an interesting concept that we will see hopefully play out, right? So the next piece of news we have is going to be Opensea's Deals. So they basically launched this feature where you can safely make deals with another person. So let's say you want to trade a Bored Ape for a Bored Bored Ape or Bored Ape plus ETH and plus other NFTs. Now there's a very safe, secure way to do it. Of course, there's always like social engineering and you can get tricked into losing your assets. You know, it's about time that OpenSea, you know, launch a feature like this, right? Other platforms, NFT trading platforms have done this already. It makes sense for OpenSea to do it as well. All right. So with that said, that's everything we got to cover for this video. I'll see you guys next time.